beautiful people of the internet. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully great. And welcome to budget builds, where we use zero Forma and achieve maximum efficiency. In today's video, we're taking a closer look at Nidus Prime. So I have covered Nidus previously about 2 years or so, and of course this year we do have Prime version of him. So of course naturally we are going to be covering a Prime version. Of course, you know, this one is a much better version of his regular counterpart. But before I continue with the video any further, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys would like to support me or the channel any further, remember to leave a like, as this does help me out tremendously. Spartan the subscribe button for more Warframe videos and streams. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a Discord server, so you know, if you guys would like to go and play with me outside of YouTube or doing any one of my live streams, therefore go and join the Discord server. Without further ado, let's get this video on the road, shall we? So like the title does suggest, we are going to be going for a tanky based Nidus. However, we are also going to be prioritizing some, you know, damage output along with a good amount of crowd control. So as you guys can tell, we are mainly going to be prioritizing on strength, and a lot of it. Of course, we are going to be neutralizing range, sacrificing efficiency, and of course we are going to be rolling around with a little bit of duration. So basically, as you guys can tell, we haven't added any Forma onto this build whatsoever, because this wouldn't be an episode of budget builds now, will it? So as for mods, here is what we're going to be rolling around with: growing power, blind rage, intensify, augur secrets, and of course rage for more power strength. Even though rage is mainly for, you know, to give us more energy if we do take damage directly to our health. Remember, Nidus doesn't have any shields, so we're always going to be reaping the full advantage of rage whatsoever. And of course, power strength. Remember, the more power strength we have, not only the more damage we can go and deal, but also Nidus's constant healing will be a lot more effective. If you guys didn't know, Nidus's ult, that being his, you know, Ravenous, or the way I like to think of it as his infested garden. Basically, whether it's your allies or yourself that's staying on this garden, you'll then have more, you know, health regeneration per second. More power strength equals more health or heals per second. Remember, the more heals we have, the lot tanky we will be, and of course the greater our survivability will of course be. And of course, some more linking would allow us to, you know, parasitical link is his third ability, which will then therefore give us a, you know, reduction in damage up to 90%. I'm not too sure what the exact cap is, but more power strength you have, the more damage reduction you'll also have. And also, you'll also increase your damage output, as that enemy that you go and you do, you know, link to, you'll then also be hitting your #1 to that particular enemy, if you get what I mean. So next up is we are going to be using adaptation, because this is a tanky based build. Remember, adaptation basically gives us up to 90% damage reduction for whatever enemy damage type that does gets flying to us, whether it's slash, impact, corrosive, viral, whatever it is, we're always going to be receiving that damage reduction of 90%. It's not purely invincible, but hey, 10% of a large number will still be able to go and one shots. But thanks to Nidus's passive, we're not going to have any issues whatsoever. Of course, vitality, therefore we have a lot more hit points. We are going to be using the rank 8 one, as this is an episode of budget builds. If you go and add a little bit of Forma, you'll basically have the maxed out one. And of course, we are going to be using a rank 9 one of adaptation. Next up is we are going to be using the augur message for a little bit of duration. Remember, we do want to make sure that our ability duration does last long. And this is ranging from either our parasitical link, our, you know, lava, or even our ravenous garden. Now, if you guys feel like this is too low duration, then feel free to go and add maybe a, you know, primed continuity to augur message, or a regular continuity. Or if you guys do feel like you need more duration, feel free to take out power drift and then go and replace it with, you know, prime continuity with augur message. Remember, more duration would mean that our abilities will be lasting for a lot longer. Now, as you guys can see, we are going to be using primed flow for a much bigger energy pool. Remember, therefore we've got less restriction. And of course, you guys can tell we've got very little efficiency. So the way that Nidus's ability works, basically, the more energy you use, the more energy you'll get back. So if you guys have to go and always rely that you can go and hit these enemies at a constant rate, the more enemies that you can hit in a single blow, the better your energy economy will be. If you guys start using, you know, virulence with just, you know, recklessly, without always, like, you know, hitting them with your 2 first and then you hitting your 1, then you are going to be having an energy problem. However, rage will definitely sort that out for us. And one thing I do want to say is, a lot of people will then turn around and tell you that you need to have range, and I actually disagree with this, mainly because of the fact that your 1 will be restricted in a way. So the way that brilliance works is basically you'll only be able to go and recast this once this particular ability has reached its limit, or has actually reached the end of its lifespan. If it hasn't, then you have to wait until it actually has finished its endpoint. By you having less duration, therefore you'll be waiting a lot less. And another good way to go and make sure that you can use verdants a lot quicker is by make sure that you are looking at a wall when you do hit the enemies, with your wand. But hey, the chances of you always looking at a wall is not always going to be great, so therefore less range is always mandatory. And of course, for our Arcane's department, we are going to be rolling on with Arcane Grace and Arcane Guardian. Guardian, which gives us, even more base armor, which allows us to have, take a lot less damage from the enemy shots. And of course, we are going to be using Arcane Grace. Therefore, we can have constant health regeneration if we take direct damage to our health. And remember, because Nidus does not have any shields on whatsoever, you're basically going to always be able to go and proc Arcane Grace along with Guardian. Both of these arcanes really do synergize well with another, and of course Rage does synergize well with Guardian and Grace along with adaptation. Overall, Nidus becomes the ultimate tanky Warframe. So one thing I do want to tell you guys is what makes Nidus such a great tank is purely because of his passive. And basically what's going to be happening is that every time he is killed, he'll then be invulnerable for 5 seconds, but therefore he'll be losing 15 stacks of mutation. So basically you need to ensure that you always have more than 15 stacks, therefore you can always go and stay alive. And the best way to go and gain yourself stacks is basically group up all your enemies with larva and then go and hit them with your number 1. But of course we are in the simulacrum, so therefore I get to show you guys exactly how to go and set up Nidus for his tankiness. So what we're going to do here is we do have some test dummies here. We're going to go and spawn some enemies. Of course we are going to make sure that we can be taking some damage. So basically go up to them like so and hit them with your number 2. And as you guys can tell, us by having passive range, we still are able to go and take up a whole group of enemies. I don't know about you guys, but this is still pretty good. And of course just keep doing this over and over and over until you are satisfied. And also go and link to this enemy, which will then also take up another 3 stacks. And the great thing is, because we are using link, all the damage that we take from all these guys will then be taken to him. And also the stacking or the increase in healing gets even better, because then we can go and activate our 4, and because our 4 is healing us and we take less damage, and of course Arcane Grace is healing us, we are therefore immune. And of course our little bugs, or I don't know what they refer to as, but basically our leeches are able to go and distract the enemy, therefore we'll have enough time to go and recuperate. But even if an enemy is looking at us and shooting at us, you can see that my health barely goes below 1150.